Hi, welcome back. I have a little tangle for you today in honor of Memorial Day. This is actually a tangle that I have designed myself. It is called Herosq, Herosq, and it comes from a trip that I recently took to Budapest, where I was visiting an area called Herosq. And in the square, there was a fence that went around some of the statues. And this is inspired by that fence. So I decided to call it Herosq in honor of the fence at Herosq in Budapest. So let's begin. Let's just take a deep breath. We show some gratitude. I think today is a perfect day to be grateful for those who have served our country to protect us and their families who have supported that commitment. So first we're going to do our 4 dots, 1 in each corner, and then we're going to join them to make the border, turning our tile because it makes it much easier to keep our hand in a natural position. And then we're going to do our string. So for our string for this one, we're going to divide our tile approximately in half, and then also in half the other way. I do prefer to draw my lines vertically, so I turn my tile so that I can do that more easily. And then I'm just trying to decide if I want to go smaller or not. I'll just make it so small if I do. I think we're just going to go with this for now. You certainly could make your squares smaller and then you would have more of them to do. But I think we're just going to stick with this for this demonstration. Okay, so the way that Herosq starts is we're going to put an orb in the center of each square. So notice I'm not measuring. I don't get to use a ruler. So we just put the orb approximately what looks like center to us. And it's not really about not getting to use a ruler. It's that we're not going to be so worried about perfection that we become stressed about making sure everything is in exactly the right space. We don't need to do that. So each one of these squares individually is going to be Herosq. But we know that in Zentangle, whatever we do to one, we have to do to all. So now that I have my center, I now put half of a circle in approximately the middle of each of the sides. So just like that. Now, when I go to do the next one, obviously the top is going to be the same, the right side. So far, everything is exactly the way that we did it on this one. But when we go to do this side, we're going to use the half of the circle that already exists as our guide and then just complete it on the other side. So that same thing is going to happen here. I already have half a circle. So I just want to finish that circle. And then we go around the rest, just doing our half circles in the middle of the line. So on our last square, we actually get to finish this circle and this circle. And then we only put halves here. Okay. So the first thing that we did in a square was the middle circle and then approximately halfway on each side, we did half a circle. The next thing that we're going to do is we are going to draw lines, line-ish, that make the circle meet the circles on the sides. So we do that vertically and we do that horizontally. Now I'm just going to finish this one square instead of doing them all right now because I want you to see one square at a time. So the next thing I'm going to do is join the side circles or half circles, whatever it is that we have, with a line. So first I almost did like a plus sign, and now I'm doing what would look like a diamond. And then the last thing that we do is, again, from that central circle, we go out to the corners of the individual square. Okay? And then our last step, I don't know if I already said last step. If I did, it was the second to last step, is we do an aura around those half circles on the outside of the square. We do not do the center one. In fact, I'm going to choose to ink in the center one. I'll even leave a little bit of a highlight so that with our tangle, we get a little bit of drama. Whenever we add ink, it gives us drama. Look how that changed things. But I don't want to put a circle around that one, an aura. We're going to leave that one alone. So now we get to do this same thing to each of these other three. So we started by doing our vertical and our horizontal lines, joining the circles. Then I'm going to go from about half of each semicircle to about half of the space of another one. And I'm doing this as a diagonal so that basically I have that diamond shape. And then I'm going to go back to the center, about halfway in that space, and I'm going to go out to the corner of the big square. Okay? And then we have to do the auras. I want to try and make the auras about the same size, but I'm not going to stress over it. And then just like we did when we first made this, I get to use the first one as a guide. So that's kind of nice to have that guide there. Now, because I drew my string in pencil, I do want to go over that. Remember those first 4 squares? We divided it in half both ways. So we do want those lines to be there. We could have done that first. I just forgot to. All right, 2 more to go. So I'm going to turn my tile just because it's easier. So we do our vertical, we do our horizontal, diagonals. See how my right hand, my drawing hand, really doesn't move. I'm just going to turn the tile to make it work for my hand, because this is the most natural way for me to draw. Okay, and then I need to do those auras only around the sides, not around this middle one. I'm going to go back and I'm going to ink it in like I did that one. And now I have my last one to do. Verticals, horizontals, What's next? Diagonals. And you can obviously do these in any order. That doesn't matter. And then my corners out to the corner. Lines are done. And now I can do the rest of my auras. Okay. And then all I want to do is go back, leave that little highlight spot, and I'm going to very, very carefully ink in those middle circles that every line came off of. Or the real mathematical term would be line segment. Last one. Nice. Awesome. Now again, just like with the string, I could have inked the border in the beginning. I don't have to wait until the end to do it. I tend to wait until the end just in case I make any other changes along the way. Fabulous. And so there we have it. This is Herosq. I'm going to write it on the back. And we put our date. I believe today's the 29th. And we want to make sure on the front to put our chalk somewhere. And then the only thing that we haven't done at this point is shading. So honestly, I haven't thought too terribly much about how I would shade this. So I think for today, I'm going to just leave it at this as black and white. And I would love for you to share with me some ideas that you have for shading. Herosq can stand on its own, just like this, or we certainly could put different things. We could use it as a string and put different things inside of it. So maybe another day I'll explore that as to what would happen if we now wanted to add some smaller tangles within the tangles that we already have here, making up the original version of Herosq. So thank you for joining me. And again, we thank all of our past, our present, and even our future veterans for their service and their families for their support. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.